Hi, this is Chrissy Scott, and this is my case study. First of all, what I know. Ms. Walker is an academically demanding teacher at Roosevelt High School who has received what she perceives to be a threat to her safety. Students and parents alike have made complaints about Ms. Walker's expectations. I also know that attempts by Dr. Forbes, the principal, to alter her teaching style and expectations have been unsuccessful. Dr. Forbes is a highly respected and established principal of 9 years and was recognized as Principal of the Year 2 years ago. Excuse me. I also know that Dr. Forbes prides himself on the highly regarded reputation of the school, and he seeks only the most qualified teachers, which is one of the reasons he chose Ms. Walker. She was highly qualified, having an undergraduate degree and a master's degree, as well as 1 year of postgraduate work prior to her employment with Roosevelt High School. I also know that, what I need to know. Has Ms. Walker had any out of the ordinary confrontations with students or parents recently? I say out of the ordinary because she has a history of complaints from parents and students prior to this incident. I need to know who sent the email and created the website. And I also need to know if this was a legitimate threat to her safety or if it was intended to taunt her, hurt her feelings, or just scare her. The problem is that I don't know who created the website and the threat, so I need to find out. I need to know how I can help Ms. Walker make changes in her own teaching style, but also allow her to maintain her high expectations for these high school students. And then also how, if possible, can all the parties be addressed in a way that will promote respect and dignity as well as satisfaction for everyone. My plan of action, as far as who created the website, I would plan to involve the school's technology personnel to see if they could figure out, the origination of the email and the website. I would also contact the legal department for the school, because there's only, if it's a legal situation, then it goes beyond the scope of the school district and actually goes, to the law enforcement. And then I would also interview students and listen and consider their concerns. See who knows what about the website. Ms. Walker would be my next part of my plan. I would establish times for her to attend other schools and observe other established and successful teachers. I would want to collaborate with her to determine attainable and reachable goals with a timeline to match, and also maintain an open door policy, so to speak, so that she is comfortable coming back to me and letting me know, if she has any further concerns. Also with Ms. Walker, I would insist that she attend professional development courses. These would not be a choice, and I would have a lot to do with what these courses entailed. I would establish with Ms. Walker a rubric that would also be based on the timeline and include consequences up to and including termination if she doesn't reach those expectations. This has gotten to a point that everything needs to be out on the table. It needs to be open and honest, and she needs to know exactly what's expected of her and what's going to happen if she cannot meet those expectations. As far as addressing all parties, I need to assure that Ms. Walker, I need to assure her that all parts of her improvement plan are confidential and will not be shared with other people. I would meet with students and listen to their concerns. Also assure them that this is their turn to speak, but they need to be respectful when they speak, and they need to present some kind of alternatives for the way that she teaches. I would also meet with any of the involved parents individually. This would not be a lashing out, a big meeting and the parents against the teacher. They need to be reassured that all their concerns are being addressed, but they also need to understand that it's really none of their business exactly what is being done, and remind them that it takes time to change things, and that hopefully they'll be patient. Resolving issues based on promoting the success of all students. In order to promote the success of all students, current as well as future, it's imperative that Dr. Forbes focus more time on the students' concerns about Ms. Walker. If more than a few valedictorian candidates are in jeopardy of losing their status, there's probably more to the problem than what he was originally thinking. And in talking to all the students and the parents again, it's establishing a consistent pattern that Dr. Forbes can take back to Miss Walker. An administrator can also promote the success of all students by ensuring that they are reasonably challenged. It wouldn't do justice to any college-bound student for them to receive anything less than what they should be expected to do in college. Furthermore, it would not set a good example for anyone planning to enter the career world. Expectations are typically high in most companies, and it's important to prepare students to meet these expectations. That's what high school is all about. It's your next step before you get to college. College is your next step before you enter the career world. It's not supposed to be easy, but it shouldn't have one teacher's class consistently make or break a valedictorian status. Last, to promote the success of all students, administrators and teachers must promote honesty and trust. By reassuring students that their concerns will be heard and considered, they establish a sense of trust. An open door policy, so to speak, lets them know that they can discuss any concerns respectfully and not suffer repercussions. Promoting trust and honesty at a young age fosters the same behavior as they mature. If we teach them now that they're going to be retaliated against for coming and speaking to the administration, expressing their concerns, then I believe that's a pattern. A pattern would develop, and they may take that with them into their career, into their families. It's just not a good example to set. Debrief the problem by reflecting. Reflecting on the problem, I was thinking that Miss Walker must be extremely upset to be staying 3 hours away at her parents' house on a school night. Second, I thought that Dr. Forbes was very professional in his response to Miss Walker. She was very distraught, and he diffused the situation by staying objective and calm. Third, I was thinking that this is probably not an isolated incident. I wondered if maybe there had been other activities outside of school, text messages, talking, Facebook, now that we have Facebook, or even email exchanges that had a lot to do with her, because a public threat seems to be a big jump from school meetings, meeting with the principal, and then boom, here's a threat against her. I was feeling several emotions during the case. First, I was sympathetic to Miss Walker because nobody likes to hear negative things about them, not to mention a threat. Next, I felt concerned for the students who were involved with the situation. Their frustration must have been overly severe to have performed such an act. I can say that I think we've all had classes that we felt like we might just go over the edge, or teachers who we thought were not very understanding or anything like that, and I've never been to this point though, so I felt sorry for the students. And then third, I felt that as an administrator, Dr. Forbes may not have invested enough time in Miss Walker and her effect on the students prior to the situation. The case study said that he had spoken with her before and made suggestions, but she obviously didn't follow through on things, because it doesn't seem like she made any changes at all. And I just wonder, had he devoted a little more time, that maybe things would have been different. As far as what I valued, a rapport with staff and students ranks very high. As an administrator, I would value the integrity and honesty of my staff. Also, I value opportunity for improvement. By working with Miss Walker to help her improve her teaching and rapport with the students, it shows the students, staff, and community that mistakes happen, but people deserve a second chance. Last, I value the opinions of others in the education system. Using other teachers as mentors shows that their styles and practices are valued. As I express these values, it demonstrates to Miss Walker that there are many ways to reach students and still uphold the highest of expectations. 3 issues I think require further investigation. We still need to find out where the email and the website originated. We need to know if there were community members, people other than the students, that were involved with this. And do the students need more education about consequences of slander, libel, and making threats? How do I demonstrate a sense of integrity and ethical behavior? As an administrator, I demonstrated a sense of integrity and ethical behavior first by making no assumptions or determinations before speaking to the involved parties. Second, I planned to seek legal counsel before making any punishment determinations, especially those that might be outside of the scope of the school. How did I act with fairness? I acted with fairness by establishing goals and a timeline with Ms. Walker, as well as clearly stating the consequences, to include termination if the goals were not met. I also expressed to the students that they were able to speak freely, but they needed to be respectful in doing so. The consequences that fit the crime would be applied to the students involved as well. So, this isn't all about Ms. Walker needing to change, and it's not all about what the students did. It's about both parties. Long-term effects, could be had on both parties, and Ms. Walker obviously has a very respectable background, a very respectable education. Maybe it's just her tact that needs to be changed, and she deserves to have that opportunity. How did I demonstrate a personal and professional code of ethics? In order to demonstrate a personal, and professional code of ethics, I did not presume anyone is guilty. Although Ms. Walker had her own suspicions as to the culprit, I assured her that we would have to meet with the student in addition to his friends. I also maintained confidentiality in terms of Ms. Walker and her goals and her timeline. The parents would be informed that it was being addressed, but it's not their business how it's being dealt with, and the same would apply to the students. Whatever consequences, were given to the students would also be confidential through the school district. If something else came out, within the community or going through law enforcement and such, that would, that's beyond our control. Thank you.